that 9-line and had proved that, look, if you're not into geopolitics, you won't notice this. I mean, hello. Hey everyone, happy Friday. I'm Lauren Conlin and welcome to Pop Crime TV on YouTube. I'm doing a quick impromptu live stream on the Menendez Brothers case because I was all over this towards the end of the year in 2024 when many of us thought that it was a real possibility that the brothers could be out before Christmas. And that was a little crazy. That was a little maybe wishful thinking, I guess. I feel a little silly now knowing what I know and seeing all that's gone down. But it's been a while since I've done a live stream, since I've done an update on this case. Hey, Afton, I'll hit the chat. I also just gave MJ, our favorite MJ Aries, a quick birthday shout out on X. So hopefully she's off enjoying her birthday somewhere in Florida or somewhere warm. But there is a hearing today at it's 10 a.m. CST, so that will be in about 45 minutes Eastern time, 1 p.m. here. And the hearing is for the DA's office to withdraw the resentencing motion that the previous DA Gascon, filed. So this Nathan Hochman, the new DA, he has made it very clear that he does not think that the brothers should be released. Okay, Donald, I hear you. Your humble opinion, they should not be released. Totally fine. Would you mind sharing more? I love to hear all opinions. If you're new to this stream or new to my channel, I really do. I respect all opinions and I enjoy them. I don't think it's very fun when we all sit here and think the same way. But the new DA Hochman did not agree with George Gascon. And, you know, for me overall, I think George Gascon was a horrible DA in general. I thought he was really bad. And I think that Nathan Hochman in general, minus this case, is great for LA. He's doing really wonderful things for LA. I just don't agree with him when it comes to the Menendez Brothers case. And there's a few things that he said last month that triggered a lot of Menendez supporters as well as family members to really clap back. So George Gascon believes that the Menendez brothers never came clean on their quote unquote lies. Yay, Nini's here. Guys, if you don't know Nini, she is such an expert on this case. She knows everything there is to know about the Menendez brothers. So I always look to her if there's something that I'm unsure about. But let me share with you exactly what's been going on. So yeah, Hochman's been a buzzkill. And he, again, does not believe that the brothers should be released. He said that he's not going to shut the door here necessarily, but he said if Lyle and Erik would reconsider admitting or owning up to their lies, he would think about resentencing. And the Menendez brothers have clapped back in saying, well, a lot of these quote unquote lies were already debunked in the trial. So, you know, we don't really need to go over that again. Check the trial transcript. One thing that has been said is that Nathan Hochman has said this is not a self-defense case. And the Menendez brothers have never called it self-defense alone. They've called it something that many of us are familiar with from hearing about it now, imperfect self-defense. And I had never heard of this before, and it's a lot more nuanced than just self-defense because I've gone through this, I think, on some old streams. If you guys want to check out some of the old streams I did, I have a playlist, the Menendez Brothers playlist. And I don't necessarily think that the night they killed their parents, they thought their lives were in this insanely dangerous place where, yeah, they thought they were going to die that night because, you know, there have been reports that their parents were kind of sitting on the couch watching television, or in some cases they were sleeping. But no, I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. And imperfect self-defense seems to be the right word for it. And actually, I believe I believe they had a really good Facebook post about this on Lyle's page, and his wife, I'm putting wife in quotes, Rebecca, runs it, who we found out, I believe in December or January, is not his wife. They are just best friends. Let me go back to the chat here. Yes, Hochman has been annoying. He clearly hasn't read the transcripts or watched the first trial. I mean, he has said that his team was going through a lot of the transcripts and the filing and or all of the filings, I'm sorry. And he had a new team on this, that had nothing to do with the case when Gascon was on it. And that also, I think, caused some issues internally because he took some of the people off the case that had been on it from the start, but those people were very vocal about supporting the Menendez brothers. And I think Hochman kind of wanted a clean slate there. I kind of understand that, but I think I also would have kept at least one or two people on. And the people that he took off the case actually filed a harassment suit of some sort or some kind of wrongful termination or something like that in the workplace. So I need to do a follow-up on that. But yeah, so this is interesting. Donald, you followed this case when it happened. Many people growing up were abused and did not do what they did. Totally get that. I've heard that many times before. But let me ask you this. Do you think that they've paid the price, 36 years? Because I don't think anyone here or anyone in this chat would say, yeah, they should have gotten off with a slap on the wrist. No, they definitely deserve jail time. This was a brutal, savage crime that they committed. Definitely. I am not disputing that. But, oh, that's good. I should check that out, Afton. Josh Ritter did a wonderful show on the imperfect self-defense argument. Yeah, I think that's really important to remember. The brothers are not saying, oh, we acted in this typical self-defense. And I think, yeah, Hochman's office needs to be a little bit more nuanced with that. And also, I can play some of this now, but I think it's really important to hear what the brothers have been up to while incarcerated and how sorry they are, aside from again the lies which were debunked in the trial and the imperfect self-defense that they're trying really hard to explain and define as something different than self-defense. I think it's so important to hear that. I mean, they're doing more good than most people are doing out in the real world. I really think a lot of people agree with that. And you'll hear why. They've started like this hospice program that they recently told Harvey Levin and Mark Garagos, their own attorney, on TMZ. They have that podcast. It's really fun. Two angry lawyers. It's great. But hearing all of the things that they've been up to and just how much they've grown and how remorseful they are, I do support them. You guys know this. So what's going to happen today is, again, Hochman is trying to get the motion for resentencing withdrawn. And if he is successful, there will not be a hearing that's supposed to be held, the resentencing hearing for April 17th and 18th. That I don't think will happen anymore unless, some kind of a appeal on Garagos's end happens, but I'm not sure. However, in June, even if this is they do withdraw the resentencing motion, they will still get another hearing in June in front of the parole board and Governor Gavin Newsom regarding clemency. So that is not off the table at all. All right, we have another person. Yeah. Okay. So wait, sorry. I missed what you said, Donald. You said in today's sentencing guidelines, I believe they paid their price. Okay. Yes. So I guess now I get my question. My follow-up here is, so do you see where I'm coming from with my support of their release? I never thought they should have walked away scot-free from this. Not at all. And if you go back to a juror interview that I did with Hazel Thornton, again, it's in my playlist. I actually asked her, I was like, why? And this is trial 1. I'm sorry. I said, why could you guys not agree on murder 2? And she had said that the women really were dead set on manslaughter and the men were dead set on murder 1. And when it came to murder two, she said the women did not feel like it was murder two. They thought that was too much. They thought it was manslaughter. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I personally think it probably was murder two because of the reloading of the gun. Lyle reloaded the gun, went outside, and then came back and savagely shot his mother in the face. And yeah, so that's where my feeling is that, yeah, it should have been murder too. But anyway, let me go. Let's see. Okay, Nini's talking about Hochman. The way he's approaching it is so biased. He's ignoring all the nuances of the crime and the circumstances that led to it, ignoring everything they've done since. I agree with that because he had said in a recent interview, he said something so offensive. Oh my goodness, it was awful. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, I believe that they believe they were abused. I mean, what? Were you there? Nathan Hochman, were you there? That's crazy. Sorry, my dad just texted me, please remove the background. Shut up. Get on the chat and say it. Say it to my face here. I like this background. Bye. Happy birthday, MJ. Yay. Birthday girl. Here she is. She also agrees with me. Yes, release them. So I also want to point this out. I was talking with, you guys might know Carrie True Crime. We were texting the other day about the Menendez brothers, and it dawned on me that you've got cases like, and this says these are two separate cases, but I just think it's wild. The preppy killer, Robert Chambers, who murdered and raped Jennifer Levin in Central Park, or I guess, his defense was that it was rough sex gone wrong. I mean, it's horrible. It's BS. This guy was clearly a psychopathic murderer, and he served 15 years. Can you guys imagine that? He served 15 years. He struck a deal. And this is where I'm just like, yeah, and it's hard. You can't, it's like comparing apples to oranges, but it's crazy because he gets out. And if you're familiar with his story, I mean, he went right back to jail, I think a few years later on drug charges, like another 15 years. This is back in the early 2000s, and he was just released in 2023. So yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that we are sitting here, I guess, arguing about the fact that they were abused. And listen, Hochman also shot down the 2023 habeas motion that Garagos put forth, where he introduced the new evidence of Roy Rosello from Menudo, saying that he was also raped by Jose Menendez, and also the letter that Erik wrote Andy Cano, his cousin, who has since passed away a few months before the murders. Hochman said, yeah, no, sorry, these aren't things that'll help your case, which is, again, is wild. So let me go back. I want to go back to the Facebook of Erik and Lyle. They had something really great they said about imperfect self-defense that I wanted to pull up. And they also had something else very recently where Nathan Hochman compared them to another infamous killer, I guess, Sirhan. And that really did not sit well with me, and it didn't sit well with a lot of the supporters. Although I also can say, okay, I get where you're coming from, Hochman. It doesn't really work for me. Let me just go back to Facebook. And I want to play a really short clip of the TMZ doc that just came out on April 7th, because that's also really, really eye-opening and really informative. Okay. So I have to scroll up. Maybe I should just get on their Facebook and share it at this point. Let me do that right now. All right. If we can all see, I'll make their Facebook bigger in a minute, but I love all the posts that Rebecca does. And she actually, she responds to people on Facebook all the time. She responded to me. I loved it. I was like having this great conversation with her. And this is a while ago, but okay. Oh, and she posts a lot of the family members that support the brothers. Anna Maria Baralt, she's really popular on TikTok. I follow her. She does a lot of good TikToks about the case. And they also have asked for people to write letters to the parole board if they want to help. So I think that's awesome, and everybody should do that if they feel strongly. Believe survivors. Here we go. Okay. Wow, this is really, really going up here. Really going up. All right, maybe I'll just come back to this later while I'm playing this clip really quick. So let me play the part of the new doc, because I was able to pull it up on Fox earlier. So I'm going to play a part of that and let you guys listen just for a minute, and then I'll find some of the posts that I'm going to share.
The issues and tried to hide those issues, and I was taught that you do it through the best clothes or the best car or whatever of those things that we now know is completely dysfunctional and frankly just a sign of internal pain. I look back and I'm so ashamed and embarrassed about even the little things that I did in life, and I'm not sure anyone looks back on their teenage years and is really fully proud of themselves. I'm not that person. But who I've evolved into, who I've seen Lyle evolve into, I'm beginning to like myself and be proud of myself and find it okay to like myself.
So he actually says that in the Garagos Levin interview as well. Erik had said, finally, I'm at a point where I can feel proud of myself and feel proud of things that I've done. And I just want my family to be proud. And he's so embarrassed for his behavior and he's ashamed. And he sounds genuine. My gosh, he sounds totally genuine.
I'm sorry, kill my parents. Pardon me? Don't What? Who?
The bodies of Jose Menendez and his wife, Kitty, were found late Sunday night in the library of their posh Beverly Hills mansion.
Police arrested Lyle at the family mansion yesterday. Younger brother Erik's reportedly returning from an overseas trip to surrender.
I'm going to fast forward just a little bit.
You telling?
Because this is like, we've all seen this. We've all seen this.
The governor, you can let him out. Governor Newsom.
Applications specifically for.
I want to hear, yeah, Newsom. This is what I want to hear.
I've directed the Board of Parole hearings to do what we call a risk assessment investigation into their applications specifically for commutation. The question for the board is a rather simple one. Do Erik and Lyle Menendez, do they pose a current, what we call unreasonable risk to public safety?
Governor Newsom has taken the reins in the Menendez case. He has asked the parole board to do a review. And the Menendez brothers are going to go before the parole board June 13th.
There we go.
And the parole board then makes a recommendation, sends it to the governor. You can let him out.
One other person, though, that will be there at that parole board hearing, LA County DA Nathan Hochman, who has been very vocal about the fact he does not think they should get out.
The way that the murders actually happened was instructive to understand the deceit and the planning that went into it. There was over 12 shotgun blasts that occurred that night.
We know.
One of the shotgun blasts was to Jose Menendez through the back of his head. Right. After he was dead.
I guess this is where it gets old to me. Like, this is where it's like, we know what happened. We know how savage it was. We know how brutal it was. We are talking about now. We are talking about moving forward. We're talking about this risk assessment. And we're bringing up the fact that, again, nobody thinks that they should have served 0 time or they even 10 years. No, I think a 30-year sentence or maybe even whatever, 30 years, let's say, with the possibility of parole. Would we be having this conversation about their heinous crimes? No, we wouldn't. We know how bad it was, but we know there was a why, and I'm obviously not promoting violence or murder, but this is, it is what it is here. So it's like, why does he keep talking about this? This is what's driving me insane. We know the facts. We know the details of the case. He's just obsessed.
There were shotgun blasts to each one of his knees. They do not meet the standards for rehabilitation.
if there was ever an example of rehabilitation over the course of 35 years, it would be Erik and Lyle's exhibits A and B. Mark Garrigus, Erik and Lyle Menendez's lawyer.
What is the change in them that warrants that kind of evaluation that they've been fully rehabilitated?
The amount of insight, the complexity, the introspection, the dealing with it, the thought process, the 360-degree evaluation of where they are, where they've been, and where they're going to be is incredible.
And I've also, I pulled this from Reddit, and I think I went over this in one of the lives, maybe from December or something, but the Menendez brothers, their prison records are almost impeccable. Lyle has gotten into 0 fights in 36 years, and Erik got into maybe 1 fight back in 1997. And this is a difficult task, specifically for the brothers, because they were pushed around, made fun of. And as Lyle specifically has said, that when they were playing sports outside in the, in the prison yard, that he would get messed with on purpose. So he would try to, so they would try to get him to retaliate. So this was huge to me. I mean, I don't think I could go. Can I even go a week without getting into a fight? Not like a physical fight, but I mean, it's weird. It's weird that Hochman does not seem to be taking any of this into consideration. It really is bizarre to me. And it's funny because I saw a post on Twitter the other day. Somebody was like, dude, even Megyn Kelly thinks the Menendez brothers should be released. And that's saying something right there. I agree.
We received a tremendous amount of mail. That connection with the public and with others who have maybe experienced similar trauma in their childhood or at some point in their life, very motivating, very inspiring. And so a lot of what Erik and I have done is along those lines of working with other victims or working with victims in here.
What they did to the victims, their parents, was horrible. My name is Thomas Lenahan. I'm a former detective from Beverly Hills Police Department, and I was the detective that was assigned to the Menendez murder cases.
All right. I don't need to.
This obviously is the worst, most.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I'm going to stop sharing that for a minute, and I would like to go to this really quick, because this was a call that Lyle and Erik had with Harvey and Garagos, I think a month ago. Let me see. Yeah, this was about a month ago. And I just listen to them, you guys. Just listen to them speak, and it's so, I queued it right up to when they joined. But it's just really, you really understand how kind of also messed up this situation is in terms of, like, remember, again, we thought they could possibly be released by the holidays, and then everything starts getting pushed back when Hochman is elected, and then the California fires, things were pushed back there, and so they've kind of been sitting here in this odd state of limbo, wondering, is this real? Was it all too good to be true? And it's kind of like, I don't know what I would prefer. Would I prefer having that type of hope, or would I just prefer to keep my head down and think that I'm doing life? You know what I mean? Because I think it's so horrible just to pull the rug out, like, which is what seems to have been happening. So let me play part of this. Hey, Diana, good to see you.
He is on right now. So
I'll speed it
Mark,
up.
I know you just spoke with them.
I did. We just got off. We had I would characterize it as a very productive call. Wouldn't you, Lyle?
Yes. Of course.
Without revealing, we're not revealing any attorney-client, especially with Harvey.
I know better than to ask that.
Hey,
Lyle, I'm really interested in something that this resentencing hearing was supposed to go down in December. It was then postponed to January, and then because of the LA fires, it's now pushed to March. So this must be.
And then it was pushed back again.
Difficult for you guys because it will determine the rest of your lives, and there has been delay on delay. So how are you guys holding up to this?
I think we're mostly dealing with the reactions of our family, who are very anxious, and the delays are very upsetting for them, particularly since we have my 2 aunts are elderly and not in the best of health. And so there's a lot of anxiousness in the family because of that something might happen before something.
I love this model.
Good could
Sorry,
happen.
I'm going to repost it again.
For Erik and I, we've been incarcerated 35 years, and we've sort of developed a peace and a patience that might not make much sense to someone who's free. So
that's a very astute point, because I've been amazed at I know, and it's almost, I do it a disservice when I call it a Zen-like or Job-like patience, but you guys you've kind of reached a point where you've got a very kind of interesting perspective on just time.
And that's what's so crazy, is that they are so calm, and they seem so zen about this, and their biggest concern here is their family. And that says a lot. It's like our family is going through this, like the ups, the downs, thinking we're getting released, this is being postponed and that. And meanwhile, it's like, yeah, Erik and Lyle are like, all right, let me just keep calm and carry on, but they have so much concern for their family
itself.
Right. And we try to live for the day. We're very hopeful, but this time counts, and so we've done what we can with the time that we have, and you never know how long you've been blessed to be on the earth. So we don't just sit around waiting for something. So that keeps us motivated.
Lyle, I'm really interested in what you and Erik have to say about this. I know Erik's standing next to you, but let me ask each of you this.
I love this
You mentioned that you're hopeful. That amazes me. Hope seems like kind of an elusive thing when you're sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. So how do you keep that alive? And it also goes to the fact that, you've got, you've worked on getting a college degree, you've worked with other prisoners there, you've worked on this green space project. How do you develop hope when the sentence is until death?
Love you guys a lot.
Very difficult in the beginning for me, but through, Erik and I have been blessed in that we're not unknown that we're here, so we receive a tremendous amount of mail, and that connection with the public and with others who have maybe experienced similar trauma in their childhood or at some point in their life, very motivating, very inspiring. And so a lot of what Erik and I have done is along those lines of working with other victims or working with victims in here, or being part of groups or creating groups along those lines. So a lot of the fulfillment and motivation just comes from that. Hope for the future is really kind of a new thing for us. I think Erik would probably agree with that. It's not something that we spend a lot of time on. It's a very new concept for us, this idea of hope for freedom. We mostly just focus on the day, on the present, on what we can do to sort of feel good about that day.
Could I ask Erik the same thing?
Yeah, sure.
Erik,
I'm here.
I asked Lyle this. I'm so curious. How do you maintain hope when you have a sentence that basically takes you to death's door? Because that's the sentence, right? And that has been for a long time, for 35 years. So you guys have done things in that prison that really kind of, for me, kind of shocked me, that it's trying to make your life productive. How do you do that?
Well, that was a journey. So I didn't start out with that mindset. When I first came to prison, I wasn't just sentenced to prison. I was sentenced to prison to never see my brother again, to never have a hope for freedom, and to fend for myself in a very violent level 4, which is considered a maximum security prison, where I didn't know anyone, and I'm 600 miles away from any place that I'd ever really been to. So I was very alone, afraid.
I feel like we've heard a lot of this. I want to get to
prison was hard for me.
What they've done.
I faced a lot of bullying and trauma. There was it was a dangerous environment, and fortunately, I had motherhood and growth and begin to heal a lot of the self-hate and self-loathing that I dealt with all of my life. So when I came to prison, I didn't come to prison healed. I came to prison dealing with the traumatic wounds of my past.
Yeah, so I'm going to pause it right there, because the whole point of that was I wanted you to kind of hear how they sound, how they're dealing with this, and then they talk about a lot of what they've been doing while in prison, which again, running support groups. We've discussed this, a hospice group, which it's like people that are, I'm just like, this is insane. People that are dying, you're supporting them. And again, it's like they're doing more than I'm doing, gosh, outside of prison. But I wanted to go back really quickly to the the hearing, it starts in 15 minutes, but I don't think it's going to be televised. I haven't seen anything. They do have a lottery where they have like 16 seats open to the public, and they're doing that. So I'm assuming there's going to be a press conference after. I won't be able to stream it. I'm driving out to the Hamptons Whodunit to see some of our favorite creators, guys, including, by the way, Joe Giacalone. I will be so excited to see him, and I'll take a photo and I'll put it up. But anyway, so I want to just go back to some of the lies that Gascon has accused them of not coming clean about before I just get really quick to this press conference. Okay, so his quote, I believe it was on CBS, he said, quote, "As a full examination of the records reveal, the Menendez brothers have never come clean and admitted that they lied about their self-defense," which we discussed, imperfect self-defense, as well as perjury and attempted perjury by their friends for the lies, among others, of their father violently raping Lyle's girlfriend, that their mother poisoned them, and their attempt to get a handgun the day before the murders. This is what Hochman said. And yeah, they were like, okay, no, a lot of this already came out in the trial, and that this didn't happen, that didn't happen, and we don't really need to go over it again. We don't really need to discuss it. And on Lyle's Facebook, I did finally find this post. Here. Let me see. I'll share this tab right here. Can you see that? I'll make it a little bit bigger. So Rebecca said on behalf of Lyle, the DA has shared their reply to our response to the motion to withdraw on the site. There's no point in us posting a document that contains, quote, "the same old regurgitation of lies, misstatement of facts, a dismissal of all expert testimony, no knowledge of any testimony given in court because thoroughly discredited witnesses are cited as credible. And that is fundamentally flawed due to their misunderstanding of the law. Imperfect self-defense is something that one would expect DAs to understand. It is not the same as self-defense." I want to know the exact definition of that. What is the definition of imperfect self-defense? Let me get this exact definition here. Imperfect self-defense is a legal concept where a person uses force in self-defense, but their belief in the need for force is unreasonable or they use excessive force. While it doesn't completely absolve the defendant of liability, it can potentially reduce the level of a charge. For example, murder to manslaughter. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense to me. That definitely makes sense to me. And I'm going to pull this up. Actually, you know what? I will put I'll put a picture back up of the Menendez brothers since I think that's a little bit better. Actually, never mind. I want to show you guys the press release that the DA's office just put out about withdrawing the motion today and the resentencing. And yeah, it's bad. Yay, Carrie's here. Carrie, I was talking about our discussion the other day and how we were talking about the Menendez brothers. And then I was like, yeah, I recently was researching, for whatever reason, Robert Chambers, the preppy killer, and he served 15 years for grape and murder, and then went back to jail on a drug charge after he was released for like 15 years or something like that. And it's just, I know it's apples to oranges, it's different states, whatever, but it's just like, come on, this is just, it's annoying. Let me make this a little bit bigger again. All right, so this is what Hochman's office released. Oh, hey, Darkside, good to see you. Glad you guys are joining. This is what the office released a few days ago. I'll just skim through it. And by the way, they do say they've gone through everything. Quote, "After a thorough and exhaustive review over tens of thousands of pages of trial transcript from 2-month-long trials, thousands of pages of prison records, and the hundreds of hours of videotaped trial testimony of all the relevant pleadings, exhibits, and statements, as well as interviewing victim family members, defense counsel, prior prosecutors, and law enforcement, the DA's office is prepared to proceed forward with the hearing on the court's initiation of resentencing proceedings for the Menendez brothers if the court deems it has jurisdiction, but we are requesting that the prior DA's motion for resentencing be withdrawn. Though the defense argues that this decision is political, such an argument is devoid of merit. The basis for this withdrawal request is that the prior DA's motion did not examine or consider whether the Menendez brothers have exhibited full insight and taken complete responsibility for their crimes by continuing for the past 30 years to lie about their claims of self-defense. That is, their fear that their mother and father were going to kill them the night of August 20th, 1989, justifying the brutal murders of their parents with shotgun blasts through the back of their father's head. We don't need to see. As full examination of records reveal, the Menendez brothers have never come clean over the past 3 decades and admitted that they lied about their self-defense, as well as perjury and attempted perjury by their friends for the lies, among others, of their violently raping Lyle's girlfriend. I said all this. Their mother's poisoning. Okay. Then this is where he makes the quote about Sirhan. The court may look for guidance to the recent case of Governor Newsom's denial of parole to Sirhan, the murderer of Robert F. Kennedy. In that case, the parole board had recommended parole, focusing on the facts that Sirhan had spent over 50 years for the 1968 murder, was in his late 70s, was 24 at the time of the murder, came from a troubled and violent upbringing, had no prior arrests or convictions, engaged in extensive rehabilitation, blah, 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 blah. He literally compared those 2 cases. And then he said, I'm going forward a little bit, the court must similarly analyze whether the Menendez brothers' lack of full insight and lack of complete responsibility for their murders overcomes like it did in Sirhan's case. Wow. He wants to thank everybody, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no. Oh my gosh. No, and no. This is crazy to me because I see, again, I'm not going to be completely blind to the fact that I see what he's trying to do with these similarities, I guess, and the fact that Sirhan was very young. He didn't have the best childhood. But no, it's just a big no for me. The brothers, I've gone over this ad nauseum. I believe them. I believe what happened to them. I believe that they were abused and they clearly weren't thinking straight. But at the time, they felt like this was their only choice. And I said this on this stream, the night that their parents were killed, I don't feel like that was the night that Jose and Kitty were going to do something to them and take their lives. But however, that's the night they decided to do this, part of their imperfect self-defense plan. So just going over everything in general, again, if today the DA succeeds in withdrawing the resentencing, there will not be a hearing April, I believe it was 17th or 18th, if it's killed. Yes. But they should still, hopefully the judge will still put them in front of the parole board and Gavin Newsom for a clemency hearing in June. And I mean, I have to just hope and pray that this judge sees things like many of us do. I don't know if anyone else in the chat that's here thinks they should not be released. I think Darkside, you think they should stay in prison. Donald, you said what they have done in prison is great. They should be released. If they are not released, I am sure they will continue to do great work there. They are growing where they are planted. Yeah, I get that. I just think that if they're not released, or I feel like it's going to be really tough on their families at this point as well. I mean, Erik said in the I think it was the TMZ. Oh, it was Garagos. Yeah, Garagos and Harvey Levin. He had said so many nice things about his wife just sticking with him and staying by his side, and how she really changed his life as well as her young daughter, who he now considers his daughter. And yes, totally agree. Comparing it's crazy. You can't compare an assassination to this. I agree with you, Nini. And Carrie, yeah, even their own family said their parents are bad, and even their own family corroborated the abuse claims multiple times, many times. Afton, you don't mind them getting a parole hearing. I don't think I knew that about you, that you don't want them released. Okay. I was not aware of that. But I understand. Like I said, I understand, and I do appreciate your opinion here. Let me just ask you this. Do you think that they need to serve 50 years for their crimes? Do you think they need to be staying in prison forever? Do you think they're a threat? I mean, I don't think we've gotten the results back from the quote unquote risk assessment that Newsom's office has done, but I would think that they are not very risky at all. I would not be afraid of them if I saw Erik and Lyle walking down the street. I wouldn't like duck for cover. Oh, interesting. You believe they should stay in prison forever? Yeah, I believe this too, Steph. I do. Afton, you don't know if they're a threat. That's why you want the parole hearing. Totally get that. Totally get that. Oh, Donald, that's so nice. You've been married for 30. That's so cool. 38 years, and you met your wife while you were locked up. That's great. Well, she must be amazing. And she must be very special. So I'm very happy for you. Thank you for sharing that. And I also just want to put it out there that if you're just joining, I obviously don't condone what they did. It was savage. It was brutal. I just think that it wasn't murder one based on everything that we've reviewed over the last, it feels like 3 decades. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. And I'm very nervous for today. Like I said, if this gets slapped down and the judge agrees and there won't be a resentencing hearing, their last shot would be clemency. And I think Gavin Newsom is useless. Like in general, I think he's a very useless person. I don't think he's a good governor. I think he sucks. But I think he could be very useful in this situation. I think that not that he cares about my approval or he really cares about anyone's approval, not in California. I think that this could really help him from a PR standpoint. And I just like, again, DA Hochman, I think that he's a good DA with every other case except for this one, except for this. So it's really, really annoying and just really, really troublesome. Afton, I totally understand that too. Afton says her other worry is how many people are incarcerated under similar circumstances but don't have this notoriety. Who's fighting for them? Well, let me tell you this. If you think this, and the brothers, they actually agree with you, and they said on this interview with Garagos and Harvey Levin, they said they are going to fight for people like this because they've made comments like, oh, I've met one of my old roommates has been here for 50 years. They didn't say exactly what he did, but they said he doesn't deserve to be here anymore. He needs to be released and someone needs to help him. So they also made it very clear that if they are released from prison, they would still want to be a part of not the prison system, but they would still want to take part in helping other prisoners. And I thought that was really wonderful. So I totally understand what you're saying. I'm going to go back to the chat. Hey, Joanna, people don't want them to be released, say there is no proof of SA. Maybe they want to see a videotape. The United States is all about punishment and not rehabilitation. I understand. And yeah, I think I said that. Even the DA doesn't believe that they were abused. And I mean, there's only so much that you or one can do to prove that one was abused. And I think that in the Menendez brothers case, they've done it all. I mean, not only did they have their own testimony, which I believe, and I've gone through their statements on the stand with Jack Fox, who's a statement analyst, and not everybody believes in that. But a lot of what they said, came directly from the heart. And yes, I know that they obviously went over their testimony with their lawyers and whatever. You can say anything. But then you have the family members that backed it up. You have the family members that testified that Kitty was knowingly kind of protecting Jose while he was doing these horrible things. And then you have Roy Rossello from Menudo that came forward and said the exact same thing that Erik and Lyle said, and it all checks out. Jose Menendez allegedly raped him at the Menendez home where he felt safe doing this to his own sons. It checked out for me. And then you have the letter where Erik actually wrote to his cousin saying, this is still happening. I can't take it anymore. I mean, in my opinion, that is way more evidence of abuse than anyone has brought forward in many, many cases. And I don't want to get crap for this, and I'm only talking about the Weinstein retrial, but you have that case where you don't have nearly as much evidence as you have in Menendez. But what you do have in Weinstein is some of these women being in consensual relationships with Harvey, emailing him saying, I want you to meet my mom, and then going back and saying, oh, no, he raped me. So, and Harvey was convicted on that. So it's like, okay, what are we doing wrong here as a society? Let me look here. Patriot, I am very focused on the facts in real life. I think the evidentiary decisions in the case were designed to ensure convictions. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I take the mitigating evidence, Menudo, very seriously. So do I. And if you followed my streams or, this case in general, you'll know that the brothers were convicted. Their second trial, they were convicted right after OJ walked. So that, you could argue that was political, okay? Everyone's saying, oh, DA Hochman, it's not political. Okay, cool. Well, back then it was definitely political. They needed a win and they got it. Thank you so much. I took the words out of Nini's mouth and I take that as a compliment because, yeah, she knows everything there is. Thank you. She is amazing. The only lady I ever knew who used who never used your wife. Okay, Donald. That's so nice. And her name is Joy. That's so nice. I love that. I wish I could say the same for myself. I use many profane words. So yeah, so I believe the hearing is happening right now. I will double check just to see online or on YouTube if it's streaming anywhere, just so I'm not wrong. Menendez Brothers. 411. What am I doing? 4. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, these are just news articles. I'm assuming Associated Press, they always have a good stream right outside the courthouse after. I'm searching. No, I don't see anything. Do you guys see anything? Just let me know if you see. I have about 15 more minutes before I have to go. Let me know if you see anything. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, much less evidence in the Weinstein. I love that you're calling it a farce, the trial. Listen, you can say that, but I can't say that right now. I'm feeling very sensitive today to trolls, so I don't want to. No, I'm just kidding. Joanna says the DA thinks he's on trial in front of a jury giving a closing argument. Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, oh, you think the judge will take his side? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And I am nervous. Yep, agree, Dizzy. Totally political, and legal analysts agree. Yeah, I find that a lot of people, and I'm going to say both sides of the aisle, meaning Democrats and Republicans. I think that they all agree on this, that it was political and the Menendez brothers should be released. So, and Donald, you can join Lyle's group on Facebook and they accept everybody. So thank you, Karen. I really appreciate you guys protecting me from the trolls. No, I was saying to Dizzy on Twitter, it's been kind of quiet since I did the Terry Dunn interview, who directed the Karen Reed doc. That was a rough weekend for me. I was seeing lots of stills of my face being like it was just, yeah, I'm kind of, that was a rough weekend, but it's been a few weeks. So I feel like I'm due for, oh, okay. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. A YouTube channel called The Sun that's streaming the crowd. Okay, I'll pull that up right now. Thank you. Pulling up The Sun, at The Sun. I wish I could be boots on the ground. Gosh. Oh, The Sun, like the publication. Okay, got it. Yes. Thank you. This makes sense. I'm going to share this right now. Why did I just totally black out on that? The sun, okay. Really? I swear I live on Earth. Crowds gather. Okay. So this is outside. This is what I figured it would be. Thank you, Dizzy. There were people that loved that interview. And listen, I still stand by the fact that I don't see exactly what I said wrong or what I did to upset so many people, but I guess I'll never know. Yeah, I know, and that too. All right, so nothing's really going on, it seems, outside. I don't know if we're gonna catch a glimpse of anybody walking in. Oh, I just got an update on Twitter. Somebody said on my tweet, because I tweeted that we were gonna go live. I don't believe these guys should ever get out of prison. They brutally shot and killed their parents with shotguns. They also reloaded to finish the job. That's not a lie. They could have left home. They wanted money without working hard for it. Oh, I don't agree with that. I definitely don't agree with that. I mean, yeah, that's my whole thing. Did I not say that? They reloaded. That's why they should have served a lot of time. And that's why I think they should have been murdered too, with the possibility of parole. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're so nice. All right. I don't really know what to expect out here. I am kind of bummed, like I said, that I can't hop back on after for the presser and let everybody know what exactly happened in the courtroom. But I'll do something next week that will hopefully give a little more of a breakdown. I'll do a follow-up, but I'll probably group it with another story because I don't know how much there will be. Let me see. Oh, I missed a couple calls. I don't know that number. That's fine. And yeah, I don't know what, Dad, why do you hate this background so much? What's so bad about it? Would you guys rather my office background? I don't know what the big deal is. Yeah, whatever. Nene says they couldn't be indicted for killing their parents for money by a grand jury, so that argument is tired. Yeah, there you go. And that was the prosecution's whole claim back in the first trial. They were spoiled and they wanted money. I know. So is it just bad? I just left it up because I just didn't feel like. I mean, I can take it off. What does it matter? I'll show you the other background. It's silly. Where's my virtual background? None. Here we go. Cool. My office. Awesome. Big difference. You happy, Dad? Cool. All right. Well, do you guys have any questions or any comments? Anything you want to say? I think that, yeah, next week I should do a stream about Harvey, and I should definitely do a stream catching up on Menendez and what happened today. Thanks, Dizzy. Stop it, Dad. My background is nice. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do that. So I mentioned to a lot of you, I am going to cover the Harvey trial. Yes, my actual dad, he was texting me, Karen. He's not in the chat, but he's like texting me. So he's watching. He's being coy and not chatting. He doesn't want to get crap from you guys, probably. But no. So I am going to be going down and covering Harvey. Jury selection starts Tuesday. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to go down for that. I could if you guys think it would be fun and helpful, and I can go outside the courtroom again and talk to Harvey's lawyers. But I do have the transcript from trial 1 that I would like to go over with everybody, and I've kind of been highlighting some things when I have had the chance to do that and review it. But if you think that's something that you'd be interested in, I can do that on Monday. I think that Harvey's case, or trial, I should say, is going to be so different this time around. Like it's going to be wild. And Arthur, his attorney, had told me something interesting. This is going to be Harvey's case. Going to be one of the first trials of rape where you're not going to hear from a doctor, from any law enforcement officers, any first responders. You're not going to hear anybody like that. And I'm like, oh, that is really interesting to think about. So I think he's going to include that in his opening statement. Like, this is just straight up. He's going to say something like, these are relationships that, these women didn't get what they want. And this is not me talking. This is me just saying that this is coming from the defense. And emails, like I mentioned, saying, I can't wait for you to meet my mom. She's going to love you. Are you okay, babe? What's going on? Like, yeah, you get it. It's a whole mess. So, thanks, Donald. Hopefully you can subscribe to the channel so you can get alerts. And that goes for anybody. Subscribe, like. I enjoy doing these lives. They're really fun. I usually do impromptu ones. Usually I'm like, I'll text Izzy and I'll be like, what's going on today? Is anybody else streaming? Should I just do a live? She'll help me out there. But all right, guys, I wanted to give everybody an update on what's going on. Hopefully this helped you out. And I'm going to head out to go pick up my car to go to the Hamptons Whodunit to see our friend Cheryl McCollum, Sarge, Joe Scott Morgan. It's going to be great. I'm very excited. Hopefully there won't be too much traffic. And yeah, I will do. Yes, Brianna, I love this. I'm here for that too. Free the brothers. I'll give everybody an update on Monday. And most likely, if you guys follow me on Twitter at Conlin_Lauren, I will do a tweet updating everybody later with what happened today in court. So thanks, Darkside. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a really, really good weekend. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and prayers for the Menendez brothers if you feel the same way that I do. Bye, guys.